We all carry something from our past that haunts us. Maybe it's something you said in anger years ago. Maybe it's a decision you made that hurt someone you loved. Maybe it's a choice you wish you could take back, but you can't. If you've ever felt this way, I want you to know something right now. You are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. What you're feeling is guilt. And while guilt can teach us important lessons, it can also become a prison we lock ourselves in, throwing away the key. Today, we're going to talk about why guilt stays with us, how it affects every part of our lives, and most importantly, how you can finally release it and forgive yourself. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you made a mistake? Not a big one, just a small, everyday mistake. Maybe you forgot someone's name. But what about the big mistakes? The ones that changed relationships, careers, or the direction of your life? Those mistakes don't feel small at all. They feel massive. They feel like they define us. And that's where guilt begins to take root. Guilt tells us we are bad people because we did a bad thing. It doesn't separate the action from the person. It blends them together until we can't tell the difference anymore. Guilt is actually a healthy emotion when it works properly. It's designed to help us recognize when our actions don't align with our values. It's supposed to make us pause, reflect, apologize, make amends, and then learn from the experience. So why does guilt linger? Why can't we just let it go? There are several reasons, and understanding them is the first step toward freedom. First, we often believe that feeling guilty proves we're a good person. If we let go of the guilt, we worry it means we don't care about what we did. We worry it means we're selfish or heartless. But here's the truth. You don't need to suffer forever to prove you're a good person. A good person feels remorse, takes responsibility, makes changes, and moves forward with wisdom. That's not virtue. That's self-destruction. Carrying guilt doesn't undo the past. It only ruins your present and future. Second, guilt lingers because we haven't truly forgiven ourselves. We've apologized to others. We've tried to make things right. But we haven't given ourselves the same compassion we would give a friend who made the same mistake. Think about that for a moment. If your best friend came to you and said they felt terrible about something they did years ago, something they've already apologized for and learned from, what would you tell them? You'd probably say it's time to let it go. You'd tell them they're human. You'd remind them that everyone makes mistakes. So why don't we say those same things to ourselves? Why are we so much harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else? The answer is complex, but part of it comes from the belief that we should have known better. We hold ourselves to impossible standards of perfection. We expect ourselves to make the right choice every single time, even when we're tired, confused, hurting, or lacking information. That's not realistic. That's not fair. And that's not how growth works. Third, guilt stays because we fear that moving on means we didn't care enough about the consequences of our actions. We think that if we heal and feel happy again, it somehow diminishes the seriousness of what happened. But that's a lie. Guilt tells you to keep you trapped. Moving forward doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've learned. It means you've grown. It means you re-choosing to become a better person rather than staying stuck as the person who made that mistake. Let me tell you something important. Holding on to guilt doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the person you hurt. It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't make you a better person. All it does is drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and prevent you from showing up fully in your life. And when you can't show up fully, you can't be the partner, parent, friend, or person you want to be. Your guilt doesn't just hurt you. It affects everyone around you. Now, let's talk about how guilt affects your mental well-being. Because this is crucial to understand. Chronic guilt is exhausting. It creates a constant background noise of shame and self-criticism that never lets you rest. You might notice that you have trouble sleeping because your mind replays old scenes when you lie down at night. You might feel anxious in social situations, worried that people can somehow see your past mistakes written on your face. Guilt also feeds depression. When you believe you're fundamentally flawed or unworthy of happiness, it's hard to find joy in anything. You might sabotage good opportunities because you don't feel you deserve them. You might push away people who care about you because you don't think you're worthy of their love. You might stay in situations that are good for you because you think it's what you deserve as punishment. Guilt affects your physical health too. The stress of carrying constant shame and self-blame takes a toll on your body. You might experience headaches, stomach problems, fatigue, or a weakened immune system. Your body is trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you that this emotional weight is too heavy to carry forever. It's time to set it down. So how do you actually release guilt and forgive yourself? This is the part you've been waiting for, and I want to be clear with you. Self-forgiveness is not a single moment. It's not something you decide once and then it's done. It's a practice. It's something you return to again and again, until it becomes part of who you are. But there are specific mindset shifts you can start making right now that will change everything. First, separate who you are from what you did. You are not your worst mistake. You are a complex human being with thousands of qualities, experiences, and moments that make up your life. One mistake, or even several mistakes, do not define your entire existence. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm a terrible person," stop and reframe it. Second, recognize that you made the best decision you could with the information, emotional state, and resources you had at that time. This is so important. You cannot judge your past self using your current wisdom. Third, focus on what you've learned rather than what you lost. Every mistake carries a lesson. Maybe you learned about your boundaries. Maybe you learned about the kind of person you don't want to be. Maybe you learned about the importance of honesty, communication, or so. Fourth, make amends where possible, but accept when it's not. If you haven't already apologized or tried to make things right, and if it's possible and appropriate to do so, then do it. A genuine apology can be healing for everyone involved. Fifth, commit to living differently, moving forward. Self-forgiveness requires change. It's not enough to say you're sorry and then continue the same patterns. Show yourself that you've learned by making different choices. Sixth, practice self-compassion every single day. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you deeply love. When the guilt rises up and tries to convince you that you're unworthy, respond with kindness. Seventh, understand that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. You don't have to pretend the mistake never happened. You don't have to minimize its impact. You can remember what happened, acknowledge the pain it caused, and still choose to release yourself from the prison of guilt. Here's something else I want you to consider. Who benefits from you staying guilty? Does your suffering change the past? Does it help the person you hurt? Does it make you a better person? Or does it just keep you small, stuck, and unable to contribute your gifts to the world? Sometimes we have to ask ourselves hard questions like these, because the answers reveal that our guilt is serving no useful purpose anymore. Think about the energy you spend feeling guilty. Now imagine redirecting that energy toward something positive, toward helping others who are struggling, toward building healthier relationships. I also want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but what I did was really bad. I don't deserve forgiveness. If that's you, I need you to hear this. You are still a human being worthy of compassion and healing. Yes. Even if what you did caused significant harm. The question isn't whether you deserve forgiveness. The question is whether you're willing to become a better person and whether you're willing to stop punishing yourself in ways that do you and serve anyone. Refusing to forgive yourself doesn't undo harm. It just creates more pain in the world. Your pain. And that pain ripples out to everyone who cares about you. The most powerful thing you can do after making a serious mistake is to genuinely learn from it. Let me leave you with this final thought. Your past is a chapter in your story, but it's not the whole book. You get to write the next chapters. You get to decide who you become from this point forward. The choice is yours. And I believe you're capable of choosing freedom. I believe you're ready to forgive yourself. Not because what happened doesn't matter, but because you matter. Your healing matters. Your future matters.